pronounce Issa's name like that. Your host like that because it sounds so like fucking formal. Okay, wait, hello? Be like, welcome to the What We Don't Know podcast with your hosts, Olly Evely and Issa Sabah.
Tell me about your new fascination with alchemy. I'm going to do this every time, by the way. I'm bringing you a new... Is it alchemy?
As compared to what? Yeah, alchemy. I mean,
as opposed to every other thing.
That isn't alchemy. No, so
alchemy.
it's not necessarily a new fascination, and it's not necessarily an old fascination. It's not necessarily a fascination at all.
So it's neither alchemy or anything.
No, I'm joking. No, I think you spot on. I have hi, my name is Issa. Hi, my name is Issa. And I'm fascinated with alchemy.
And I have an alchemy addiction.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Firstly, what is it? Is it... Okay, I'll tell you what I think of alchemy.
Yes, yeah, I think you should, because it's probably what it is.
I imagine it as... I didn't play RuneScape. It was Diablo Online. I saw a potion master.
Okay.
Do you remember you used to get your mana and your health from a potion master?
No, I didn't know you got it from a potion master.
Oh, I don't know if it was called a potion master, but it sounds good. He, I imagine, majored in alchemy.
You know, the sad thing is, the reason I'm laughing is because it's probably true. If that character majored in anything, it would be alchemy.
That's the extent of what I know with it. And stones.
Stones? Stones how? Oh, like Philosopher's Stone, Sorcerer's Stone. That's...
I can see why you're into it now. So it's basically a mix of that Diablo guy that never is in
Harry
risk
Potter.
because he's in the safe zone. And secondly, either Harry Potter or... What's the new one that's just come out?
Lord of the Rings.
No, the other one you're kind of into. Endgame.
Avengers has nothing to do... Oh, Doctor Strange, though.
Not him. The glove with all the stones.
Oh, the Infinity Stones. Whatever.
Nothing to do with it. That's exactly what it is.
No, those stones aren't alchemy. If those stones existed, they're like... What are they? They're like stones that were created, the remnants of the creation of the universe or something? Something crazy.
Yeah. Is that... Oh, that's not alchemy.
No,
But... Okay. Yeah. But the... alchemy itself is just stuff that's been come out at the start of the universe.
No, I think... Okay, so I don't know much about the history of alchemy, but I think...
Okay, is that the right word? Did I use the right word of that thing? That whole group of things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is alchemy. Well, see, what I'm interested in, and for the most part, is psychological alchemy.
Okay.
Which is... It's like... It's basically saying that what the precursor to chemistry was, which is alchemy, was not only a material science, but it also was an alchemical was also a psychological science. So when these pre-scientists were practicing alchemy and trying to convert lead to gold or silver to gold and all of these things, all of these different things they were experimenting or working on, it was also a metaphor for psychology. And for them, they
really what? So
yeah.
But also chemistry.
It was exactly. It was like natural science versus.
What do you mean a metaphor for it? They weren't actually doing those things. Well, they were.
They were. So you have all of these guidebooks, and you see all of the actual tools. So you know they were really burning things and drying it and heating it and everything. But at the same time, what I'm learning or what I'm appreciating about psychological alchemy is that it seems clear to me that the way we see a clear separation of mind and matter now, like we say we're conscious of one thing, or like you would be hard pressed to find someone who's going to say that atoms are conscious, you know? Your neurons and stuff, you wouldn't say that these cells are conscious. You're saying you are conscious, you know, whatever that means, and all of these things that comprise you aren't. And I'll get to my point really quick, because of our rational understanding of chemistry now, whenever we look historically at alchemy, we can only look at it from what we know now. And so it's almost hard for us to imagine that maybe at a point in time, like in the 1200s or whatever, or when the Arabic alchemists were exploring all of this, what they were working on physically wasn't separated from spirit. So, for example, when they had like a block of black charcoal, for example, and they're heating it up to make it red. This is not exactly what it is, but like that as an example, they're seeing the color change, they're seeing the material change, but also, if anything, maybe they are going through a dark period in their own life. Somehow, simultaneously, they're working on their psyche. So instead of talking to a therapist, the alchemy was the metaphor for the inner process. It was an outer and inner process.
So the term, is it across the board, across the world at that period? Because for me it was, like I said, potions and potion master, special stones doing special things.
Yes, converting
still
stones,
like
converting materials. Well,
because you still have, like, if you go to LA, they'll have some shops which definitely stones.
That's
do
funny.
things.
No, it's true because so you have self-professed modern alchemists, I guess, and what they really do, like Carl Jung he rediscovered alchemy for himself, and he said, "Oh my God, this links into my theory."
Okay, but in terms of what of material things doing certain things, because
I'm not sure. Like from the lectures I've listened to, it doesn't seem like any of them were doing physical things. Like,
because that's what you have in mind first.
Yes,
when you
most
think
people.
about
I used to think that too. That it's more physical, but I think using the knowledge we have now, contemporarily, we can imagine that we're doing it physically.
Okay,
and then that's more than enough to hold the psychological work that needs to be done.
There's a term for it.
Oh yeah, but
things that don't have an effect, but you think they do.
Oh, placebo?
Is that what it is or not?
No,
I mean, not the term. Is that what you think it does?
No, I don't think it's.
Okay,
like,
do you think then that there are
I'll give you
certain stones that do certain effects? Because there's many things.
Okay, so like crystals.
Yeah. Or okay,
vibrations.
So a big thing that was around a few years ago was a rubber band that you had for sports with a magnet.
I've
in it.
heard
Do you
about
remember?
that. Yeah.
You never saw them?
No,
and everyone had them.
Everyone
that was
had
the
them.
new
It was
shit.
like an actual trend.
Like if you wanted to balance and do sports, you needed that shit. Like,
it was called balance magnets.
Without a magnet in your wrist, you were fucked.
You
no
like, balance.
You're gonna fall over.
You're gonna
down every stairs.
It's crazy.
You went back to birth. There was no walking without that. But that has no. It's gone. It's done already.
It was just
Did you caught
literally
on?
marketing. It was just.
It was the fidget spinners at the time.
Well, see,
right?
even fidget spinners are dead.
Died already.
Yeah.
In and out.
What
if
were-
you get in on those things, you're good for a while.
Oh yeah,
You
you
got,
sorted.
how long do you have now? It's getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, what's the last thing? I don't
Fidget
know.
spinner is the new Pokemon.
I love how you call it a frigid spinner.
What is it?
Fidget spinner.
Fidget spinner.
I meant frigid spinner. I was like,
That makes more sense.
Exactly. No, at first when you said it, you were like, oh, remember, you said you were talking about the balance bands, and then you said frigid spinners. And I was like, oh my God, frigid spinsters? They're wearing the bands now. I was like, then I realized what you meant.
That's what I remember the name as.
Frigid spinsters.
That's how much I looked into them.
Yeah.
I maybe should have got one though, because I fidget a lot. Now it makes sense. I might get one. Bringing the trend back.
There's a link for it for you.
Did you ask what the new one is?
Yeah, I have no idea what it is.
When are we going to get over them? I remember when I was a kid.
They're not even here yet, and we're
do you
over them.
remember what was the rare Pokemon that you could get? Mizu?
Mew?
Mew.
Mew and Mewtwo, right? They were kind of both rare.
There was one
Ancient
that was really
Mew.
rare.
Ancient
it was really
Mew.
shiny. That's the one I
Ancient Mew,
wanted.
yes.
Ancient Mew. That's the
Yeah,
one.
I had one.
I remember. Look at you. Check you
Yeah,
out.
I had an Ancient Mew.
I was looking around London for one. Looking on. Well, it wasn't eBay at the time or whatever, but there was something similar.
And you had to be careful because there were a lot of fakes going
Really?
around. Yeah. But then you learn to spot. If
That
you
was
ever
a-
see a real one, you know what a
I
real one looks
remember
like.
fake ones actually. Yeah. Now that you mention it, yeah, it looked a bit ghetto.
It was so ghetto. It's like
I got a Mew. I got a Mew.
yeah.
Bro, that ain't a fucking Mew.
That's a mo.
Yeah. Name fucking spelled wrong and everything.
It's that's a Chikapoo.
It's like the Dickies. It's a grammar Pokemon.
Oh, I do want to go quickly back just to alchemy to the alchemy thing.
From Pokemon.
Yeah, for
Battle,
Pokemon.
right, go
To
on.
give you an example
Okay.
of what this alchemical process would be like. So, for example, in the ancient texts, Oh, ancient texts.
And what is ancient?
1100.
Are you being serious?
I'm
or not?
serious. The year 1100
So-
AD, a Jewish woman wrote some.
Hey, 1100 AD isn't that long ago.
It's not that ancient, really. But it's
Is that
old.
considered ancient or not?
No. Ancient would be BCE times.
Yeah, of course.
Or
But-
even ancient Rome's like till 400.
when I'll let you get back to it. When were the pyramids supposedly built?
Oh, God, I should know this.
I have
don't.
no idea.
8000 BC?
I'll check. Carry on.
I'm
What were you
curious.
gonna say?
Okay, so there's this really nice alchemical example, I think, that will hit home what I'm trying to say about this division. So I think the way we see the world now, rationally, when we look at these alchemical texts and they say something like the work should be contained in the vessel as long as possible, because if you open the vessel or expose the contents of the vessel too early, you will ruin the work completely without being able to recover it at all. You have to start from scratch. So reading it now with a scientific background or having just like basic, like high school, if you have a high school education, you'd be like, oh, they literally mean everything needs to be kept at a certain heat, apply constant pressure. Otherwise, yeah, obviously you will lose the things, because if you open it too early, oxygen might come into the materials and ruin it, right? So you're like, okay. What they're saying is that psychologically what this means is if you are...
Is this your interpretation?
This is not only mine. This is
Okay.
like, yeah,
But
people's
it's
psychological...
possible that it's also... They're talking about physical things or not? Or both?
No. What I'm saying is it was both. It was both, but in a world where they're observing things and they're saying this does this, but also inside something happens. And they don't think as of it... For them, the separation from inside and outside was less. The black that they see, the color black, was a feeling black. And there was no separation from the feeling and the color and the material.
How?
It's like...
It's not that long ago.
That's what I'm saying.
How is that mindset only 1100
Or
AD?
Because, for example, when René Descartes basically tried to isolate reason and say, like, it's what they call Cartesian duality, right? Mind and matter separated.
When was that? I mean,
16,
roughly.
1700s?
But that's insane.
That's-
That's 200,
and
300
Yeah, but it's not... It's a paradigm shift in consciousness. It's not evolutionary shifts.
I know, obviously, but in terms of like understanding the separation between like seeing things and understanding things in a way.
But that's the point. We're assuming that our way of looking now is superior to the previous one.
No.
Why? Yeah, maybe that's not the argument you were making, but I assumed it was. Sorry. But wait, let me finish the...
I guess.
Let me finish the last part of that
Okay.
psychological alchemy thing.
Go on.
So psychologically, what it means is if you are in the black state and you are the vessel, as you're cooking this thing and keeping it contained, if you have a problem or if you have a issue, you're boiling things, you're mulling things over, you can see the metaphorical language already. If you blab about it too quick to a friend, to a mom, or you release the ideas out, or you burst in anger regarding it to the person you're angry about too early, before you've actually processed everything, before the process is done, the whole thing is ruined, and you have to start the process again.
But
for
it's...
example, if I explode at my spouse or my partner, and too early, all of the work that I was doing to get to a place where maybe there was going to be a resolution and everything was going to be fixed is cancelled.
But how... It's also possible that it's misinterpreted. Because it's that... I mean, is that an actual example of how specific it could be? Because it's not... Like, you could really interpret that, which I think happens a lot. This is something I was actually going to say, was a lot of ancient text... I mean, ancient
old.
Is... Yeah, old. I looked at the pyramids. They're supposedly built in 2630 BC.
Oh, I said 8,000. I'm 6,000 years off.
Yeah, but it's still
2000
a long
BC.
time before that. Like 4,000 years is a long time.
Long time.
Really long time. But how much do you think? Because that could be plausibly really misinterpreted. They're just trying to put together a cookbook for things that they're trying to understand.
It does feel like a cookbook, but
because the
I'll tell you why. You have metaphors. Sorry to interrupt. You have metaphors in these cookbooks that say stuff like not exactly, but like as an example, it would say things like stir the pot like a lover's embrace.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
So
I haven't seen that, but yeah.
But it itself is metaphorical, the language in these cookbooks.
Yeah.
So,
but maybe it was back then as well. Maybe it's a jump to say that they're also trying to be psychologists at the time.
It's no. So the psychology that what we're talking about is not the kind of therapy that I was talking about in the last episode. It's not therapy at all. It's self. It's a self process.
But I mean, even
so they didn't see it as a mind.
Okay, it makes more sense when you.
It's like spirit work, spirit psychology.
When you say that they think of those things combined, it makes more sense. Then it applies more. When you say they combine color with feeling or things that they write in sense of things, maybe that's more the case. But I mean, they have to find these actual written alchemy books, right?
And this is what's amazing. You touched upon the one thing that's selling me on it even more, is they are still working with a rudimentary scientific method, because what they're doing is when they note down these recipes or when they note down the ingredients, they are observing nature. And they're not only observing physical nature at that time. They weren't only observing. They were observing inner nature as well. So when they called something reddish, or a reddish material, and then they will say inside I feel red, or from anger, for example. These things are linked. And then you think of Mars, and then of course the god Mars as well, or the war element.
Do they have a lot less words to describe things back then? They must have done. We must have a lot more words now to use. Imagine back in, let's say, 1100 AD or whenever you were talking about. There was no dictionaries to go through words that you can use to describe things. And that probably, I mean, education as a whole would be
something else,
way more limited. Like what you'd learn about how to do basic things.
So
like
the alchemists of those times were employed by the king or the prince or the queen, most likely king and prince. I doubt there were many queens. Because they wanted someone to convert their metals to gold, for example. So stuff like that, they were important to keep in the courts. And of course, these men and some women alchemists were valuable to have. They have like semi kind of hidden secrets, you know. I mean, one of their main projects, right, is the Philosopher's Stone or the Sorcerer's Stone or whatever. Well, not Sorcerer's Stone; it's called the Philosopher's Stone actually. And that's the greatest work you can achieve, which is to create. Not only does it's not to create lead to gold, it's immortality.
They believe that, though?
I think that for them, even that immortality might have been a metaphor. A metaphor for feeling that your inner experience can live on forever despite your physical death. They would probably,
if you could pull a king from 1100 AD now, he's like, you figured it out. You figured out immortality and a lot more.
He would explode, right, from shock.
What would happen? What do you think?
He would die if the king from shock.
I mean,
he would die
in
shock.
reality, he gets on a plane. Well, not on a plane. He gets on a boat, let's say, and he ends up in the New World, 2019. I almost said 9. 10 years off. Let's say 2009 for the sake of it.
Yeah, he would still explode,
of course. But I mean, it's not much difference in reality. But he gets off the plane feeling like Kanye West. Super baller, and then he's like, oh, okay, shit, you figured it out. You think you'd die from that?
I think he would die from shock.
Really?
Yeah.
But how?
And that always makes me wonder, what is my personal threshold to die from shock if I was shown another universe?
High. I don't think you'd die. It would be like
there must be a limit where we would die from shock.
And how like drastic? Tarzan. No, it would just be like Tarzan. Like thinking there's just jungle, and then you're like,
oh, interesting. I mean, you bring like a chimpanzee, it doesn't die from shock, but then again, it's not intelligent enough to understand what it's seeing. So say,
for example, here's a good example. Then, what about in the Amazon? There's a bunch of civilizations which haven't seen.
Yes,
they haven't seen the outside world, let alone imagine they saw Burj Khalifa. They'd be like, oh, okay, you guys are doing things a bit different out here.
I don't think they would realize you could stay inside it.
What would their understanding like? It's not back to zero. Like they probably have a different. It would be interesting to know what they know as a reference.
Yeah, for sure.
You never will, but
you know what? No, anthropological studies are big,
but they're not allowed to.
Intervene. So how it? That's not a true thing.
They're not allowed to
intervene. Only violent ones.
No, I'm telling you, they're not. Like in some of the what are they? Indigenous.
Yeah, tribes
or
cultures or whatever.
There's a few of them which not fully embrace the outside world or like interact with them, but people go there and stay with them and get a minimal amount of information. But then there's the deep tribes which do not interact at all with the outside world, and you're not allowed to go and talk to them, not allowed to see them. There was the guy that tried to do.
Do you know the reason why?
Because it's I don't know, they just consider it not an insult, like dangerous almost, or
what? They're a World Heritage Site.
Well, did you hear about the teenager that tried to go on the he tried to go and preach to the tribe. Did you hear about that or no?
And they skewered him.
Yeah, so that he went there to try and preach to them, and he got killed with a bunch of arrows and everything.
Yeah.
And those are people that sometimes interact with the outside world, I think. And he went there on a boat by himself. But then their mentality, I mean, it's hard to even, I mean, you can try your best to try and understand, but imagine being in one jungle area with the same people, like say,
in your
30
generations,
people.
Nothing has changed in how the world is perceived.
It's raw. That's as raw as it gets. You know,
but don't you hear yourself though? Because like, what? There is no difference. What I mean, from us and them, really.
There is, for sure. I mean, there's not at a core. There's not. But
yeah,
like,
that's my point.
But you going and seeing them and trying to understand
that's
how
my
they've been
point.
linked, that's different.
My point is that at the core, there's nothing different.
At the core, no. But I mean, that maybe underestimates experience. Because
this is where that's why Carl Jung is so. I am so addicted to him. Is like he really believes that because there's nothing different fundamentally down, that in due course a relationship could form.
Of course, I'm not denying that. But in the first sense, you could get shot with arrows very quick.
Yes, there's no denying that.
And yeah, I mean, I think this is something I also think about quite a bit. We spend time doing different stuff, right? So when from birth until now, we're both 28 years old. You both have the same amount of time to do or learn about different things. But some people spend their time I mean, a lot of time maybe is wasted, but you still invest your time in stuff. So people think about things or have different skills in different areas. And it might not be that they know less because they haven't seen an iPhone, but you go and meet a 28-year-old in a tribe out there, and his day-to-day would be a hell of a lot different.
Yeah, like he could be a tribal elder by then.
Yeah.
28, you know.
Yeah, but he could catch an animal with his hands.
This is my point. So what they do physically is one thing, but here we go again. Inner life, psychologically, they're different. You know, boys...
Different to what?
They're different to our culture.
Of course.
Because
to what extent?
To the extent that we have a lot of boys still, for example. Like, a lot of so-called men are still boys. They're not men. And for me, that's the start of it.
But
you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, but those guys are probably
it's not
men at 10. Like they're hunting at 6 years old.
Like at 12, they are. But the difference is not only because of their physical experience with the world. They have actual initiation rituals and rites and ways of saying your old way of thinking as a boy is gone. Now you're going to start thinking as a man.
For me, that's just the surface of it, because there's still so many cultures. It's rare to almost not have that, right? There's so many cultures.
Exactly. It's rare not to have rituals, and we don't.
Yeah.
This westernized world doesn't have rituals anymore.
It's common to be like, now you're a man at a younger age.
Yes.
But maybe it's not. I mean, maybe it's not a good thing that it's like that gap between like being self-sufficient and what would you consider? You said man as in like really I'm doing my thing.
12, 14, I would assume roughly.
But what a man in
older cultures.
But the difference
at
is
14, this is like
a man. You're 48. In
in our civilization now, boyishness can last till your mid 40s. I would argue. There's a
and. So you think that's, I mean, easy to say better or worse, but it's worse to be a boy until you're 45, right?
Yeah, I mean, so kids are allowed to do mistakes. When you're 45 and you're still permitted to do drastic mistakes, when you do have the capacity by then to not be making those mistakes, it's a bit of a... society has failed that person.
Okay,
at
but
that
what?
point.
Okay, what does it boil down to? Does it boil down to? Because for me, the first thing I would go to would be that we're so comfortable now.
Yeah.
That you're allowed. Like, you can make mistakes until whatever age. Keep messing up. Keep trying again. Big mistakes. And it is.
But but the mistakes are repeated. The same exact mistakes are being repeated, and because everyone around us allows it, or we tolerate it a lot. I'm not saying 3 strikes and you're out. That's not my point. My point is that there is no fire under our butts to be men.
Yeah.
And not that there needs to be. My point is that...
But this is recent. This is very recent, though, because imagine in the
1800s?
1800s,
Industrial Revolution.
No.
Industrial Revolution.
When our parents were children, you had to grow up fast compared to now.
Okay, so... I understand what you're saying. They had to provide fast. Being a provider and being responsible still does not necessarily mean you're a man. A man means more than that, I think, for me.
Go on.
Like, for example, like, a man... Like, I'll explain it clearly. When you're out and about... making my way downtown, walking fast, faces fast, and I'm homebound. And I see groups of men, right? Or like men around and stuff, different ages. Let's say I'm at a coffee shop and I can overhear people like talking and some people ordering. You can tell not only from what they're talking about or the way their body language is or even what they're dressed, but there's a general aura of this person doesn't do boyishness anymore. Yeah. There's a part of him that can access that boy.
You can be easily deceived. I think.
True. There are people who act like a man as much as they can, but when they're on their own, they're boys. But that's getting to... See, that's the thing. Like, there's no. There's a how do you
fine line.
The usual fine line between trying to give an example, trying to have a theory, and then having exceptions.
Yeah. There's this exceptions in the way that, like, everybody you would consider this is now a man could have boyish characteristics at certain points, doing certain things.
Boyishness is awesome. I mean, I don't think we should reject or demonize it or anything. Boyishness is good. Why not?
So, what do you think is the important part, the ritual side of the now you're a man? Do you think that's important?
I think yes. It's not the ritual per se; it's the actual transformation.
Yeah. Okay. But it has to be a point like in Arabic culture. Do they have that or? Because in westernized culture, it's not really.
For example, in Filipino culture till now, Christian Filipino culture, Catholic Christian Filipino culture, there is a form of it. Because in the Arab cultures, like, circumcision happens at birth, right? So that might be one kind of ritual where the child doesn't actually experience it. In Filipino cultures, the circumcision happens around 12 to 13.
Say what?
Yes. Yeah.
12 to...
I would say 98% of Filipino boys / men who grew up in the Philippines, they have had... Yeah.
Never.
And then for 2 weeks, they wear skirts and everything just to heal properly and air it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And you know what's funny?
For about 6 months.
I remember clearly having classmates, because I'm part Filipino and I went to a Filipino school here in Dubai. And a lot of them growing up were really looking forward to the day.
No.
Yeah. Because for them, they were raised not to be scared of it. And this is something good. This is when you become a man. There's all these sayings. And in your head, you're preparing in a certain way.
How old did you say? 12, 13?
12, 13, if I'm not mistaken.
Jeez.
When you finish your catechism, like when you finish your Catholic studies.
What? I don't even know. I have so many questions.
I thought
I don't know where to start.
it's no. I thought
No,
yeah.
really not.
Yeah.
I mean, this.
You look surprised.
I'm very surprised. I heard the only thing similar I heard to that is in parts in Africa, they have female
female mutilation, genital mutilation.
I mean, yeah, I think it's, but I didn't know that. I mean,
but the reasons for that, right, was to lessen the feeling, so that they don't.
Yeah.
Which is.
Yeah, and more gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, what ritual are you doing there?
What's the? Yeah, no, but the.
I mean, who am I to judge? I don't know.
This is a lot for me. Like, what age is it inappropriate to be circumcising people?
Either really young or not at all, and even maybe really young, it might cause damage.
You think it's not right necessarily?
No, see,
you're half Filipino, right?
I'm half Filipino, half Arab, Iranian. Yeah. So both of those cultures are all for circumcision.
Yeah, you're not getting out of that one.
No, so for me personally, despite us being in the 21st century or whatever, I think it's cleaner, and I think most medical doctors agree it is slightly more cleaner to be circumcised, whatever that means. Just
you just go by them again.
Yeah,
they said it's cleaner.
Yeah,
so
but like whatever.
I mean,
but
okay.
I am so for it being a secular thing, and I think letting the kid decide, or
at what age?
Exactly
2 months.
I mean, because you can have it
what
when
age
you're
is
older.
it normally?
But the older you have it, the uglier the scar, I think. I don't know. I don't think there's a graceful way of doing it.
There's not a graceful way of doing it.
I've heard stories of like.
I've never heard anything about it.
Anything. I've heard of grown men.
I think which is like, this is more than taboo. This is like not talked about. Like, I've never heard about people like, oh, this is what actually happens when you get circumcised.
There's this like really great podcast called Savage Love, and I think he's been doing it for almost like.
I haven't heard of it.
Like 10 plus years, more 20 years maybe, I don't know. Yeah, probably 20. And he does like, it's a sex podcast, and
hold on.
And so he brings in experts, or he does his research, and he just talks about all of these things in the most frank way. And so that would be perfect. You could have a circumcision doctor explain everything.
The funny thing is,
why can't we talk about circumcision? It's not like natural. It's a process.
Who's going to talk to you about it?
Who
is there? Like, who's the person that should? There's no alchemist for this shit.
There's no. Maybe I mean, you go talk to your dad and be like, "Yo, you got me
you're
circumcised."
Supposed to go to your dad and be
I'm
saying
I'm saying like, if you, I talk to the internet.
I mean, honestly, that's a saving grace for a lot of issues.
Yeah,
like,
for sure. Can you imagine how many people must have been terrified,
fucking confused
before the internet?
What is that?
What is going on? Happening? What's happening to me?
Yeah, you'd have to actually talk to a human being about what
find
happens.
out.
An older gentleman. Yeah. Have
you ever had the prostate exam?
Nope.
We're gonna need to start getting them done, right? Like at what age though? 40s?
You're stressing already.
Yeah, because that's the thing that's gonna happen.
Scary thought?
That's a thing.
40 is 12 years off.
I'm not scared. People make fun, are like trying to scare me, like, oh, 2 more years, or like 1 more year, or 30 or whatever.
30's not so bad. I felt 30 for 10 years already. 30's fine. 40's
I've been feeling 45 for the last 5 years.
So 40 you're okay with.
No, I don't. Whatever.
Okay.
I just hope I age gracefully. That's all. For me, physically aging well is important to me.
Literally, age is not a number. It's just a number.
It's such a number. It's really, and like, speaking of time slowing down, it really is, or like speeding up. It just is a number. It's super arbitrary.
Yeah. I mean, the crazy difference is I mean, I guess late 20s, you see a lot of differences of how people, it's like what you said, how people age. But
you can map
45-year-olds, there is a crazy difference, and I think it boils down to
can you imagine
how you take care of yourself.
Can you imagine what our lives would be like?
I mean,
12 years. I can't.
Yeah, we'll see. That I'm okay with.
It'll be cool in a weird twisted way, and I don't know, not twisted maybe, but like This might be a sad thing to admit.
What? Okay, can I
go on?
Were you talking about what our specific lives are going to be like, or what we're going to? We're going to be in a different world for sure. Like, what are we?
I was going to say I was going to be content.
We're going to be fat for sure.
No, I'm not.
No, well,
because
you have machines to sort that out for you.
It's not about. I'm not. I have nothing against.
You won't get lazy.
No, I enjoy actually working out.
So this is what I was going to say actually. So the difference between two 45-year-olds can be insanely different. Like
between each other.
There's a guy.
You mean the divergence of life paths?
Not even that. Like there's a guy I train boxing with a lot,
mm-hmm.
and I think he said he was over 50, and like that you would not be able to tell.
That's
the guy
amazing.
Is just like
this is what I
feel. I'm 28 and I'm like shit. I should look like that.
Yeah.
And the guy's 54 years old. I think he's 52. I'll check, but I think he's 52.
Where's he from?
England. Why?
No, I was gonna say as soon as I asked where he's from, I'm like that shouldn't matter. But I was just curious.
Maybe Scotland.
I think just to flesh out my imagination of him.
Yeah, he's Britain somewhere.
Somewhere in the UK.
But I asked him like, how did you like? How have you not had problems? Like my dad has serious back problems. Well, like not I mean serious-ish. Like it's very noticeable. And he just. I mean, my dad's fit. He cycles a lot and stuff. But I mean, this guy said he never stopped. He never.
I was gonna say. I think this is the thing. Once the habit's there. The earlier you start it, the better you maintain it. But all of that.
The maintaining is huge. Like once you stop,
and then unfortunately, you have a lot of boys who weightlift, and then they injure themselves, and then they can't weightlift for 2 years, and it's like, why did you injure yourself? I don't want to jinx it because now I'm going to injure myself.
But that weightlifting thing's new. The whole thing.
Bodybuilding, you mean?
Bodybuilding is new. It's really new. Like back in the day, Arnold Schwarzenegger was big. He was buff.
But you want to know what's curious about all of it? How new are you talking about?
Because
but like, have you seen the sculptures from the ancient world? Those physiques are not. Those can't just be imagined. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, for sure not. But there's a certain amount.
And yet they were the ideals of beauty. So maybe it's not that new.
There's only a certain amount you can do without modern techniques, steroids.
Yeah, but I mean, steroids then for those men in those sculptures?
No.
Have you seen this?
No.
They don't look like steroided men where they look like bulls. Like some men, they look like bulls, like only muscle. But what I'm trying to say is that the definition of muscle and the actual size of the men in these cultures from the ancient world.
Of course.
I'm like...
I'm not surprised at all by that. Yeah. For sure not. Like, physically, men in the...
but they must have
world,
been bodybuilding to achieve that.
Why?
Though.
How?
I don't think it was workload.
For sure.
And
what's more than that? Workload is workload. That's it.
I can tell you, though, from the little I do know, they had something called a gymnasium. And
really?
and you know the ancient Greek world, they love their boys and they love their men.
I mean, even before that,
the Olympics. Did you know that the first Olympics were held naked, so that you could appreciate the male form?
No.
Yeah, well, I don't think that was one of the categories. Where naked, I could appreciate the male
they didn't
form.
Have clothes.
But they had clothes. Everyone, but you had to do the Olympics nude.
Crazy.
I guess you would. You would trip on your thing if you.
Yeah.
Probably.
They didn't have
on your toga.
They didn't have
athletic wear. Athletic wear.
Yeah, there was no Under Armour back in the day.
Exactly. Maybe that's why.
Imagine the 2020 conspiracy.
But dude, a javelin nude.
Yeah. Back to the circumcision.
Oh god. So maybe that's how the first one.
Yeah, imagine 2020 Olympics. Guys, listen, we're going to do
throwback to
at the first ever Olympics. You're going to be wearing no clothes.
No clothes this time.
I think that's going to be a separate category.
You ever saw this photo shoot of Olympic athletes and their muscle definition? There's this like tasteful photo shoot of like male and female Olympic athletes. So you could see how their body developed according to their sport.
Naked-ish.
I think it was like not bad. Yeah.
One of the
not indecent
motocross guys did a photo shoot. I think it was for Sports Illustrated, right?
Okay.
He did a cover or something with it. He was part of that thing when he was like on a bike.
Oh, and
nude, and then he like covered it up artistically or whatever. But yeah,
that's good. He must have been quite forward thinking because from what I assume in your in the riding community, that's not something that. I mean, are you guys progressive? Like,
yeah, they don't care about that stuff.
is there
really.
is there like a gay motor?
No, they're not progressive at all.
Yeah, so like, I mean, if
anti-progressive, they want to regress.
Yeah,
yeah,
no. Because I mean, I would assume that would have been not brave, but like he must have been like, you know what, I'm gonna do this. Fuck
I
everyone.
think that kind of thing they don't care so much, but it's not progressive at all. Like really thinking about it, you're thinking like,
but like
Monster Energy.
Exactly.
Texas.
Most action sports aren't, right?
No.
Most.
Yeah.
Is it called action sports?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you categorize all of skateboarding, BMX, all
rock
that stuff,
climbing
actions, but yeah. Not so much. Rock climbing is a weird one, to be honest, because it's...
outlier.
Yeah. It's its own thing.
No, I mean, like,
it is kind of, but have you seen the free climbing?
Yeah.
Stuff?
Yeah. Did you watch that documentary?
No, I need to.
It's good. Solo, right?
Yeah.
Free solo.
Brave.
Let's talk about Brave Guy. The documentary is amazing.
Yeah, I heard it's really good.
You just end up loving the guy. You're like,
really?
Yeah, dude.
He seems cool though.
He's
like I
so
saw some interviews
cool.
and stuff.
He's like delightful.
Yeah, he just seems like kind of a no fucks guy.
Exactly. No, but in the nice way, because some people kind of.
I mean, what else do you expect from a guy that has no ropes and climbing up?
Like,
I went there, but I went to Yosemite.
Oh, yeah, you've been? Oh, yeah.
And maybe, I mean, it's assuming, but I think watching the documentary now after going there is more impressive.
You can appreciate, but that's
honestly,
100%,
unreal,
100%.
I've never been anywhere.
I'm so jealous that you've been to Yosemite.
It's unbelievable. I cycled through there. Like I took
what?
my bicycle. Yeah, it's cool. So I
You're like
rented a car.
overpriced carbon fiber wheels.
Yeah.
Rental
car that I didn't pay much for, but the bike was
like much more than the.
But yeah, it was cool. Like I just like I took my bicycle in the back of a rental car, drove like it was actually from LA to what's it called Mammoth Mountain, big like ski lodge and stuff. So I went through.
Do you know how to ski?
Snowboard.
Oh, the cool one.
Not very well. Not particularly good. No. I always end up crashing a lot. Have you tried it? Or
no, I haven't tried it.
You've never been anywhere.
I don't
think
I've
ski,
tried
right?
either. No, I haven't. No.
Ski Dubai.
Yeah, but like
running down.
Yeah,
it's a bit of a. Yeah.
I mean, I'm down to it. It's just it's a lot of effort.
You're not into sports as much.
No, I'm not. I'm not. I'm not.
You're not into competitive sports whatsoever.
I would like to learn all of these things. I'd love to learn how to surf.
But you're not competitive, right? You wouldn't say. Like, okay.
I don't see the point.
It's not for me. It's not seeing the point. I think.
But like, I am competitive. Like, for example, chess. I become competitive. I'd like.
How so? Like
how so? Like, I want to win, and if I lose, bad? I couldn't admit.
Like
how bad?
Like, okay, Uno. Are you bad?
Like not bad enough to cheat. Not bad enough to cheat. Does that make sense? I do want to win.
Interesting.
I want to win with honor. Seriously.
See, you're not competitive. I'd cheat the shit out of you.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't know. Cheating rubs me the wrong way.
Cheating, I'm not for at all.
Like in my head, like for example, no. But like, I mean, you play like you're playing a shooting video game, and the guy suddenly
shooting teammates.
Yeah, and the guy suddenly has like 20 kills, and you're like, the game just started, and you're like, come on.
Does that happen?
No, but for example.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right.
I was like, what gaming?
What game is this? How good is this? Rules. How good is this person?
Yeah.
No, but like.
Did you ever play Counter-Strike when you were younger? That was the thing back in the day. Like,
that was, yeah. I was not that good.
I had to be good. We were there every day.
Man, do you remember how do you buy stuff? You're like C156 or C146 and you're like
C16. The ammo was like quick.
Yeah.
What? Why did you need to do it so douchey? Like you didn't have. You had so much time. Like you have enough time to be able to walk through it stuff.
No, you just because you want to do it and you be done and you jump up till you
until you get stuck somewhere. Glitch. Yeah. That was the game back in the day, though.
You know, apparently the modern version of it is free.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be.
They just made it free.
Everything's free.
Yeah.
Has to be. People
everything is.
They get you in other ways, though.
You think
be
one day?
Of that.
You think one day everything will be free?
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so.
From my cheap side. No, but I mean, there's.
How cheap are you on a scale of 1 to 10? No, but like really, think about this.
All right, let's
think about this. On a scale of 1 to 10.
What's 10? Give me 10 and I'll give you
10 is you have $1 million in the bank and you How
much you spend it? Okay,
and
you have
you
$1 million
really
in the bank.
You have $1 million in the bank, and you still
How much you spend in a day? What's your daily allowance with $1 million in the bank?
That's what I'm saying. On a 10,
no,
50 dirhams, $10. You're like,
get out.
Less,
that's not a person.
less
right.
even less if you can.
Okay, that's
what I'm saying. That's a 10. That's a 10. A 1 spends
Warren
the
Buffett,
paycheck.
you know about like. Have
A
you
bit.
seen the documentary?
No, I haven't.
And he goes to he goes to drive through McDonald's and gets the same breakfast every morning.
Oh yeah.
And his wife leaves him the exact amount of coins in the car. Dude, you have $50 billion. Splurge.
Yeah, but maybe he likes his McDonald's.
I think like, he's such a good budgeter. That's what he affords in his budget, and that's what he goes in. And that's what it looks like in the documentary.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. That's what they make. That's what they make it sound. That's what they make it seem like. And I don't know whether that makes him seem more down to earth, or if he seems a bit like you're a bit of a dick.
What are you saving for? Because you see, I know. I mean, for example, Warren Buffett to me is known as a money genius or a financial genius, whatever. Mm-hmm. But I don't know him as a humanitarian. Whereas Bill Gates has spun his image from tech guru to humanitarian. I think of Bill Gates as humanitarian.
Me too. Yeah, and Richard Branson as well. You think of as like
is he
giving a lot of money away? And
oh yeah,
yeah. A lot of charities.
That's really good. He must be guilty about something.
I'll tell you the name.
Richard Branson looks super sketchy.
It's probably sketchy.
He's such a sketchy guy.
I think before we get to people complain I don't finish stuff. I think I'm about a 6 or 7 on the scale.
What? That's high.
6. 5.
6.5? 6.5? You're not 5.
Actually, 10 was extreme. Maybe 5. Maybe 5 or 6. Actually, no. I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't say that. You are?
No, you.
Oh, right.
Oh, me? No,
yeah. I'm 5 to 10. No.
I think you're a 6, 7.
No, I'm like careful when I can be, and a lot of the time I'm just like, screw.
No, I would have never. I think you're responsible with money. I don't think you're tight.
Yeah,
I think.
And for the most part, I'm like, if the way I see it is like, if we go out, the amount of difference is going to be of me being tight when we go out or whatever is not a lot. Like,
what do you think?
I'm tight with overall budget stuff. Like, I'm not like, I'll spend a lot on. I'm gonna buy a penthouse in this place and get a loan out. But going out is like, if it's a difference of a small amount, or the other way I see it, this is what I try to do as much as I can. If I'm like, I can spend this money and it will make somebody else really happy for the amount that I'll spend, then I'll do it every time. Like,
you find the value.
Yeah. Then I'm like tipping, for example. Like, when I can, if I'm like, this person's gonna really enjoy having this extra money.
Yeah.
And for me,
I love tipping, but I don't tip always.
I don't like tipping and being like, oh yeah, here you go, and like hand doing
it. No. I still give and stuff. Like, I still give to the hand and everything, but I don't make it a big thing. You know what I mean? I'm like
the cool guy fold.
Oh, I hate. That's Why do that? I don't think I've ever done that.
I think
maybe once. I think once.
Cool guy, somebody had a valet once.
I think I tried that.
The cool part. There's about 16 folds, and
then and what's crazy is like, you just like you tuck your hand, and you expect to like clap it, and then the money goes, and then like when he turns, you just wink, and you're like, you got this, dude. You got the tip.
There's an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm, which is I think he tries to tip, and he gives like something ridiculous.
He wants it back.
Yeah, he goes back. Whoa, I was supposed to give him the tip. Which you could, like, if you try a cool guy too much, you're in for a surprise sometimes. Yeah. I know somebody that used to, I mean, they're very, very well off, but it was cool. It was cool to see at the time. Like, I saw him get out of a cab, go back to the apartment, and tip everybody that they saw who was involved with anything on the way back to the apartment.
But what was that? What was the thought process behind that for him? He was just feeling generous that day.
No, all the time does.
Oh, that's his thing always. Okay. No, that's good. I thought, fine, good for him.
Yeah, cool.
I wish I got to.
But I think if you like, going back to Warren Buffett or people like that, the problem is, I mean, the richest person alive at the moment, or it's the
Jeff Bezos.
Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he has what, over 100 billion. First person over 100 billion dollars.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. But the problem is, and of course you should. The problem with not Richard Branson. Who was the other person you said? Not Richard Branson.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates is because they have the Bill Gates Foundation and everything. And you hear about them having problems with where they're putting their money.
Exactly. They had that recent scandal here, right?
Oh, really? I didn't know about it.
Yeah.
What was that?
Basically, was it abroad?
Moved to
something abroad. Yeah. It's basically, they gave some of their money here to a local,
investor,
investment fund or whatever, and then this fund was supposed to.
Oh, it should have been a charity.
They were supposed to make the money come. Basically, they brought their money here to get reinvested, and then they found it was losing, so they hired an auditor. And the auditor found that the investors weren't reinvesting, or they weren't doing. They weren't.
The money.
They weren't being proper.
Oh, nice.
And so, just like that, because they're high profile, they ended up being caught.
For sure. I mean, yeah. If you go
that's scapegoats.
So, but basically, the problem is that's one thing. I think when you have like Bill Gates money, the money that he would have had before he invested it would be astronomical. It would just be insane. Like he'd be the richest person in the world, I think. But you have to be careful about what you're doing. Like that's why you have a
Would you rather have a title, or would you rather just get on with it?
Get on with it.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying Bill Gates, by the way, did it for the title.
If I ever get Bill Gates money or anywhere, say about 1/1000th of Bill Gates money.
Yeah. I wonder how much that would be. That would still be like, you would be a billionaire probably?
No.
1/1000th? You might not even have much. How much would you have?
You'd be a millionaire.
1/1000.
You'd have tens of millions of dollars.
Hard.
So say he has 50, tens of millions of dollars, I guess.
I don't know. Anyways,
there's 1,000 thousands in a million, so.
Is there? I didn't know.
I mean, you still got a lot of money.
I really don't know. Oh, so you'd have 1,000. 1,000 thousands. Because you said 1/1000.
There's 1,000 million in a billion, and he's got like 50 billion, so he's kind of a shitload of money.
You're still sorted.
It's true. When you start to work out how much money they actually have and try to put it into figures,
crazy.
You're like, okay, that's actually a lot. If you stack it up, they're going for a while. But this was my point. The problem was with those kind of super mega 0.100% people. By the time you invest your money and you think you're doing good charity, I think the businesses you have and the money you have invested would be making way more than what you thought was a charitable good deed.
Yeah, because after there's only so much money you can pump into a project, I guess, as well. I mean, is that what you're saying?
No, I think like you have things that are doing well. You have your investments. You have Microsoft or Apple, and by the time you're like, okay, you figure it out. We're gonna give $500 million to help whatever cause. Yeah. By the time you figure it out logistically, you've planned it, you've put the money together, given it to people, Apple would have made $2 billion.
And imagine,
people will still be under whatever circumstances. Fuck this guy. He's got a shitload of money. He should be giving more away. And what do? You give all your money away, or like what do you do?
I think, well, first of all, they have no right to tell him what to do with his money.
Of course not.
But give away some of that money.
But they do probably. I would imagine all of them do, whether for publicity or for generosity, which it should be that one. But how much do you give away? Say you have $50 billion. How generous are you? How much do you try to save?
We should do a scale of how generous are you. I had 50 billion. Honestly, but see, I like micromanaging, so I might try to do the whole Elon Musk thing and acquire companies that might, in the long term, help out.
Why does he doesn't do it for financial reasons ever?
No,
right?
no. I think he has a vision.
Yeah,
I think he definitely has a vision of. He wants to be Iron Man.
Yeah,
he is Iron Man.
Yeah, I think so.
I think he has a vision, and
but for the most part, that's with the super rich. The thing the people that like get super crazy rich never do it. I think I'm gonna make $50 billion off of Microsoft, Apple,
to give back.
Yeah, no, they never think first about I reckon I can make 100. Because you hear
no.
The funny thing is, you hear so much of the time.
There are some people who do work for the money, but most of these people are just passionate in their fields.
Like the people that you see, I think those like super crazy ones that get out of this world rich or whatever, never first think. I don't think.
For example, in Asia and in India, in India and in China, basically, we have a lot of millionaires now. And for
millionaires or billionaires,
maybe billionaires.
Yeah, a lot.
Probably most likely millionaires.
For sure, a lot.
Most likely, at least, the very least. But what I'm trying to say is,
a lot. Yeah,
a lot of them generated their wealth from business, so they had a business acumen first. It might link to the discussion we had in the last episode about starting from humble beginnings.
Well, also, yeah, I see what you mean, but no, I don't think so. I think this is also a crazy thing.
Do you like talking about money? I'm not saying about this topic in specific, but I'm actually curious. Yeah, in general.
In some situations, this is the same as the circumcision thing. Honestly,
oh really?
I swear, I think it's the same thing. I think a lot of the time we don't talk about. This is a personal opinion. I know it's rude, frowned upon, and stuff like that. But until I was 20 something, I never talk to anybody about salary ranges for different positions, and this is one point I have about it, which
I never have, unless it's just like close family. Well, this is the thing,
right? I've always really done my own business since I started my own business when I was 17, and I was still in school, and then kind of jumped in and out of jobs. And I think a downfall to like a really big negative point for what I was doing along the way was not valuing what I was doing at the time, because
I think everyone
I didn't know what
to charge,
what to charge, and like how much people should be making for different things, whatever, like, you know, quote, should be making. I didn't know what people were making for different, and I never asked. And it's obviously rude to ask.
So what I found while exploring the internet a lot is that a good way of approaching all of this is trying to calculate the costs of your actually life costs.
But then again,
you charge no, I mean, but it depends. It's not like that straightforward, but at least you know.
It's a weird way to think about that as well, because it's not really accurate, because some people go to a job like, I don't know, you should be paying it. My costs are like this or whatever. And it's like, your job is...
But you've met enough of these freelance types that grumble and I make this and I made this in the last project. Oh, these past few months have been rough. And then it's like, yeah, but this is the life you chose. So why are you grumbling? Because it's a life that they chose. And they've been doing it for at least, let's say, 5-7 years. Like,
for me, the difference is...
Why are you grumbling?
Even at bad times, I grumble a lot, for sure. Like, I have a lot of complaints.
No, but these are casual people you meet. They grumble. Oh, yeah. You know, it's like, I don't know you that well for you to grumble to me. I don't know. Yeah.
I like getting it out sometimes. But I think, for me, I always try to think the payoff of, like, having a bad month, for example, if you're, like, a freelancer. The freedom you have is... Yeah. Worth a lot already, I think.
Most likely. I mean,
it's like you get to put your own hours in. If you're not making a lot, then you haven't done that month. And I don't know. It's hard. It's a weird way to think about it, but it's like a trade-off.
Oh, we never answered each other's generous question.
Go on.
How? Yeah, you start.
Okay. The other thing I was gonna say, the other part about, do I enjoy talking about money?
Yeah.
The other part which I
Two different conversations.
Sorry.
No, but like no at once. Back. No, because it's funny.
It's always hard to juggle.
Yeah.
The other part I'll go back. The other part I'll say which I enjoy is just conversations about the far extreme of it.
I like economics.
Which is like the economics of like people, like the top 10 list of like over $100 billion.
I hate that.
I like
you love that. I know you do.
I only like it because I'm like, divided by 60 years, then see how much the guy could spend in a day or whatever, like to run his money out, all that kind of stuff. I like the hypothetical side of it, just the bullshit hypothetical side. Like, it's just kind of like, I don't know, like,
you know what? I used to.
I don't know why.
I think I understand, because I used to love.
Just for the fun of it. I'm not envious. It's not that
I don't think you're envious. I don't think you.
It's not that. I mean, it would be nice to have $100 billion. It'd be cool if it came in my account. But it's not like I'm like, fuck them, they have that much and I don't. It's just like, yeah, cool.
It's cool. Like, it's like the Guinness Book World Records thing, you know? It's like information, like what does... It puts things into perspective.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And I'm like, yeah, it's cool. You did good. Like, you're winning that game.
You just suddenly have 50 billion in your bank account. How generous are you? 50 billion US.
This is going to sound like a bullshit answer.
No, I'll
50 billion, is it?
Mm-hmm. How generous would you be, and how we?
It sounds wishy-washy, but this is as honest as I think I'm going to be as honest as I can be about it. If it's something I believe in a lot, I'll give all of it away.
Oh,
but if it wasn't, then I wouldn't give it. Single cent.
It's not that I doubt you, but I doubt you give all of it. Something you really believe in, you give all of it away.
If I knew my 50
but why aren't
billion,
you being practical at all?
Why
to keep like 500 million?
50 billion giving it away worth is like you're saying.
Oh, you're saying it's like okay.
If something you'll believe in enough,
but that's
I'll give it all away.
But that's like, who wouldn't? At that point, like,
really?
It's gonna save...
Most people wouldn't.
It's gonna save the world, though.
I don't know. I think it'd be hard
to
find people to give all the money away.
You think I'm being naive?
Save the world away. Okay, let's save the world.
-1.
Step back from that then. Let's say...
Cure cancer 200 times over.
What's the value for you? You have 50... This is a tough, hard-hitting question.
See, I can't even
50
put it...
billion.
Is 50 billion a lot?
Are you kidding me?
I don't understand.
Okay, I'll do my because I like it.
You like it,
into perspective.
Let's see your skills in putting things into perspective.
Okay,
how many Burj Khalifas is it? 50.
A shit ton, a load of them, at least 50.
50.
Way more 50.
50 Burj Khalifas is pretty cool.
You're in a
Can you imagine?
Express line of that. You got a
50 Burj Khalifas is pretty cool for no 50, reason.
The price goes down. One is expensive. Okay, let me put it into perspective. Then I'll ask you the question. $1 million is already a lot of money. That's $1,000. That's a shit ton of money.
Are you just gonna throw more numbers at me?
Yeah, 100%. Then you have 1,000 million.
I don't.
Then 50,000 million.
I don't care.
It's a
shit
shit ton of money.
Know. It's just zeros.
It's a lot. It's a fuckload of money.
Zeros.
Okay, so how much of your 50 billion is worth to cure cancer?
You're asking me?
Yep.
I would always keep a buffer.
Okay, like how much?
Like, okay, so
saving the world, you don't keep any money,
cure
right?
cancer only once?
Well, okay, wait. Okay, let's start with cure cancer. We should have started with saving the world, but okay.
Saving the world all. Yeah.
But okay, saving the world is like exploding, but like saving the world from a massive catastrophe, like a
saving is all.
World
it's gonna save the world.
Recession, world.
Oh, is it? If it's
world poverty.
Yeah, no. If it's gonna save a massive amount of people from death and so on, all. Like really, when we're talking massive, yeah.
How many people? 1 million people.
Yeah, even 200,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 200,000 is a lot of people.
Yeah. I mean, oh fuck. You know the scary thing?
Don't do population again.
No, I'll get into population afterwards. Wait till I get into population.
Olly has a fetish for population.
Wait, we need a full hour and a half on population. I'm fucking.
You know, we should.
I'm hard for population.
It's one of the topics. It's really one of your favorite topics.
You have no idea. I've got a lot to go into population. Aside from population, for now. So this is a crazy thing. You said. Sorry, we'll get back on. Screw the other thing. This is more important. You said 50 million for 200,000 people. You give it away. 50 billion. 50 billion.
Oh God, but that's not fair because I don't know what 50 billion is.
Okay.
50 Burj Khalifas for 200,000 people? Yeah, life is life. Really, I'm not even... I would keep 200 million.
You can't. Okay, there's no more. You give it away or you save the people. You save the people or you keep it.
Oh, save the people.
Save the people.
Save the people.
This is an insane thing to think about. Think about...
I still like being practical a bit.
Think about this is a dark turn and a weird turn to take.
Go on.
But
I love them. I love dark and weird turns.
It's pretty much common knowledge now.
You can't save anyone.
No. This is I'm telling you, it's a weird turn. It's pretty much common knowledge now that the US has been going to war for money for years.
Yeah,
right?
war profiteering.
War profiteering.
Yeah.
And far, 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 far more than 200,000 people have died from that.
and they're making money on it.
How much?
They
make those decisions.
They're doing
right?
the reverse of what I want to do.
Is this a conspiracy podcast, or we're not there yet?
Soon will be. There's quite a few really good conspiracy podcasts. There's one.
Well, let's try and stay away.
There's one similar. The name, the title. It's called Stuff They Don't Want You to Know.
Yeah.
Ooh.
We'll stay away from that. This is still on track, I think, for not.
I like them, but their logo sucks. Not
At least you have a good logo.
I feel bad. Not that ours is that much better.
No.
Yeah. Bless them.
If they hear this, we'll make them a new logo.
Yeah.
Free of charge.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's cool.
So going.
That's a nice.
How much do you think?
We're nice.
How much do you think their way up was?
What?
Their way up of.
What's a way up?
Weighing up the options of like US going to war. What do you think?
Oh, they were probably like, oh, we're gonna kill some savages and make some money doing it.
But okay, at the highest end of it, they think like that or not? Do they think because listen, they have to know.
I don't know how Americans think.
Not Americans specifically, like that. That's
war
just
generals.
People. That's war generals. That's people because it's not war.
But see,
generals.
like war generals, they're just following orders as well. They're just doing the they're just enacting
Yeah.
strategies or whatever.
But this is gonna sound super hippie, but it's the suits. It's the suits, man. That's doing it.
I guess we are a conspiracy podcast now. Oh god, I would have never expected you to. Okay.
Sorry. No,
why
okay, but for
apologizing?
real.
The suits,
It's the suits.
and then
No, but
the reptilian scum,
no,
overlords.
but it is right. It's the higher ups that have to make a decision on. It is the higher the people. At the top
obviously,
top of the
obviously,
chain.
right.
Okay,
someone
this
has
is
to.
the point.
Someone had to be like, listen, we have to make an example out of them.
No, not example. Not example. There's people that must be thinking clearly. There must be like, this is the amount of people that are roughly going to die from the last war.
But we're gonna make this much.
This is the amount of money we're going to make. We're going to make, because the way that it works, right? They make money off of building stuff for war, and then the country has to reimburse them.
I feel sick.
Yeah, but someone has to make that call. Do they acknowledge that?
Is the person making that call a psychopath? They must be. They must be.
How? What is it? Like, there's something along the line. You get higher up. You're in now. You're like part of the government.
You're going to hell now. Like, there's no
At
back.
some point.
There's no going
way
back. There's no going back from it. So you're like, might as well.
How much are we?
If someone's gonna press the button, I'll do it because there's no redemption for me anymore.
Are we flagged as a podcast now or not?
God,
Are we still safe? We're past the line. Fuck. Yeah, it's not good. I mean, you have to consider it at some point, right? We're humans. Like, you have to consider this is what happens and this is the payoff. We have to make a call because it's not uncommon. Like, it sounds conspiracy theory like, but it's not uncommon. There's so many. Every problem is that in America in making decisions. Like the pharmaceutical industry is, how much money are we going to make from this? What's the problem going to be afterwards? Every issue is, this is the money, this is the problem.
Mm-hmm. This cost benefit analysis.
Tax is okay. This is how much we're gonna have to spend on things and make things better.
If we spend this much on tax evasion, we're gonna save 200 million more. If that makes any sense, like I get
kind of
like you know, like
on
a way to save more by not paying our taxes, paying more to do less taxes or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's in the biggest economy in the world, which is, I mean, there's single individuals that are there like, yeah, screw it, fuck it, we'll do it, we'll go.
You've heard of that man who destabilized the Thai economy and stuff like that, right? At one day. He bought and he shorted the Thai baht or something.
It happened with the British economy,
Belgian
I think.
man?
Almost crashed. I think it was the British economy. There was Black Monday?
Something like this, yeah.
That was actually, who was it? Who's the Amazon is Jeff Bezos. I can't think of it. But anyway, same thing almost happened, I think, with the British economy. But it's fragile at that point. Like, if one person can do that and rock a whole economy, it's super fragile.
It is.
They're like almost on the brink, and then one guy.
And then literally all your cash means nothing.
Yeah. But like, that's yeah, it's interesting the power of one person. You know, like you said it a few podcasts ago, but it is a horrible turn to take. But the power of what Hitler did is like, it's insane that one person can have that much of an effect on brainwashing people.
I think it's not only brainwashing. I think people like really just went and like, this guy's going to redeem everything.
How
he became kind of a Christ figure, I think, for people. You know, they're like, he's...
But is that not what brainwashing is exactly, or not?
It's not brainwashing. It's propaganda, the whole everything.
Yeah, that's what it is. Propaganda side is brainwashing, no? What is brainwashing? Someone forces you to change your opinion on things.
That's like every marriage.
Yeah, but yeah.
Because one person in a marriage always thinks they're going along with it. And before long, they're like, I didn't agree to any of this.
I think it's both people, isn't it? Or is it just one? One's like, you're
one. In a relationship like that's that long lasting one person is
the folder.
Yeah,
it's shame.
I think you'll have rare partnership relationships. I think they're
really
rare. Don't you think?
That's a horrible thought.
I can't think of one couple that I know where it's balanced. Like actually balanced.
You mean power dynamic?
Yeah, power dynamic, where it's like...
Because you have some people which are more dominant than the other, but that's different than like, hey, you're going to change your personality.
The most common, like exactly. The most common is, this is my sphere of influence, that's your sphere of influence, and that's fine. And but what I'm saying is actually balanced. Like, they respect each other as individuals. They don't cross each other's lines because they can. It's like utopia. And it's not about love. It's not about love. It's about respect. It's about like...
There's so many things that go into it though. Like, how you having said that now, I'm like, yeah, I kind of agree.
It's rare.
It's rare because...
You need two mature people.
No, but the criteria that you've set already is so wide. Like, what is the extent of being balanced? Like, some people always have under the table digs.
Ulterior motives,
or they have like jabs every now and then, or
I
things
think
every
that's
now
exactly,
and
then.
Yeah, you know? And that's unbalanced already.
Exactly.
Yeah. And the worst is, I mean, there's two worsts. The two really bad ones are really, 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 really unbalanced one, which is, I think, to the side of
abuse.
Mm-hmm. And it can go both ways. You see men being the dominant and the female being the dominant.
I think the numbers are more that females abuse men. I think
psychological or physical.
Everything.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think the numbers are
more. But I mean,
except the men don't say anything because they can't say anything.
Yeah, but I mean, it's physical. I think is. I would believe.
Yeah, like women throwing shit at men.
Oh yeah, okay, I believe it.
Because if a man throws something at a woman, that's like bad, you know. But it's the same. No, I mean, you can. The thoughts.
It's bad. Yeah.
It is as abusive.
People hurting people is bad. Across the board.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think it's far more common. I think of psychological. I was gonna say torture. Not torture, but it's.
But from
that kind men to women is, I would imagine, really pretty common. Because there's so many men which get into relationships, especially, this is a bad way to think about it, but especially men that get into relationships or get into marriages, which are, they're clearly the provider.
Yeah. And then they feel they have a lot of control.
No.
Go on, I want to hear what you want to say.
I was going to say the opposite, actually. I was going to say men that are clearly the provider, the women are in the relationship because
housewife?
The man can
these kind of relationships.
Then they get to the point where they think like, okay, he's providing stuff,
but I don't love him.
He's not as attractive as people I could be with, or
I've never actually seen a couple like this.
You should do this. You should.
I've never seen a couple actually like this.
I've seen it quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Because I imagine that I've seen it in films, but I've never actually seen one. And experienced it for myself. So
I imagine it as I've seen it, but I imagine it as, what's the show, the housewife one?
Desperate Housewives?
Desperate Housewives.
I haven't seen it.
There's a few.
Do the men remain blind to it, basically? Because I mean, what options did they have?
I think,
or did they love the
think
woman
for men
for the most
and women?
part?
It's exactly the same. I think both of them get to the point where they're not accepted, but it's the same thing. It's what we were talking about. It's the imbalance and folding to situations. They fold and they get like psychological abuse, physical abuse, and they just fold, and they're in their shell.
They just feel small.
And they're in a shell of just taking things all the time. And it's a shell. It's like a tortoise, right? It's getting hit, and they have their guard up.
It's horrible to imagine when they explode what it would be like. They'll just divorce, get a sports car.
No, I don't think that's the worry. I think that's not the way. Like, I don't know. I don't think they explode. I think it's such a long...
Slow death by 1,000 cuts.
I mean, eventually, hopefully, people get out of that situation.
I thought you were going to say eventually, hopefully, they die.
No. Eventually, they hopefully get out of their situation.
It sounds horrible.
Yeah.
It actually sounds horrible.
I think it's a long road back to deal with that kind of thing. All right. Should we wrap up?
We're good? You don't want to talk more about failed marriages? I think we're good.
We'll save it.
Yeah, I mean, male-female dynamics are really interesting to me. Because I've never understood them.
The thing is, it's the thing that's also interesting for me, really interesting, is especially now, 2019, is a time where you like, there's a lot of things happening with male-female dynamics in general.
It's being explored, you mean? Like it's being talked about, and
more than ever. Not just in relationships, and like what we can do with it, what we can end up with, like where we should draw lines, not draw lines.
It's good.
Whatever.
It's good. It's important.
Good. Conversation's always good, I think.
Good
in any way,
bad or good. I'm so glad you're
pro conversation.
Yeah, pro conversation.
Did you not figure that out when we started a podcast? No, I like conversation.
No, because there's so many people who are like, why are we talking?
Like, I'm not one of those.
Yeah,
you can see I don't want to end the podcast. Okay. I love conversation. I think it's
how did we start this?
But I think any amount is good. That's what I also think. I think regardless,
the ancient
of
Greeks really believed you needed to have friends to talk to.
Yeah, but anyone regardless of belief or which side you're on. In America, it's the right left thing, right? But I think anyone talking, and at the moment that's the big thing. It's like they're not talking, they're just screaming at each other, their sides. I mean, that's good. I think anything is better than nothing. Anything's better than nothing. Eventually something's going to figure out, right? Like we will break through this thing and something will come of it. Hopefully. Yes, that's alchemy. It has to. No, like I'm serious. It's not even hopeful. It's just, I think something's got to break, something's got to give. Whether it's good conversation or bad conversation, screaming. At least something will generate out of it. Yeah, I think so. But saying that, like in marriages, screaming fights aren't probably good, but better than nothing. Better than keeping it in. Better than boxing in. Boxing in, I think, is the worst. Just don't scream and fight in front of your kids. Yeah, the kids won't need to know, and they will know even. Just they'll know. Fight. Go to a hotel. Fight in the hotel. They'll know. I think it's just an aura of it. Fair enough. Of bad vibes. Don't have kids. Vibes go a long way though. Like, don't have kids till you're ready not to fight anymore. This is Issa's unsolicited advice for the day. Don't have kids until you're ready. Oh. That's a tough card to give out. I don't think people are going to follow that. What happened? Like the other thing is people change so much. You're like, okay, I'm ready for kids, and then shit, no, it wasn't. I mean, the poor kids. It's like people become adults and they don't remember what it was like as a kid. How can you forget? How can you forget? Yeah. Yeah. And then suddenly, you as a kid didn't like going to school. You have a kid and you force it to go to school. What is going on through your head? I think like most people would be like surprisingly considerate of their own kids across the board. For the most part, I think most people would be like, okay, they're my kids. I'm not gonna. I would hope, and I like assume most people are like, okay, let's not have a big thing. Although we're just animals. Yeah, we are. We go back to it, but we are. Like it's just a free for all. It's literally. It is. I mean, like the worst part is people using their kids in fights. That's brutal because they
and the kid takes the side of the parent using them usually as well.
Before we wrap up, I'll say this.
Yeah.
When this is also a dark turn, but when marriages or relationships end whilst you're in the relationship, this relates to the having kids and being involved in stuff part as well. When you have kids and when you're in a relationship and it seems good, at the highest points, it's like, this is ultimate perfection.
This is the peak of the relationship. Yeah.
And you never think at those points, when you're deep in the relationship, the things could go to the point where you hear about divorces happen and people are like, I'm going to take all your shit. Like, all your stuff's going to be my stuff. That is a point when you're in a relationship and you're like, that's never going to happen. Like, this person, we're combined, we're like intertwined and stuff like that.
This is the ideal. I want this for my life.
With the money taking part.
No.
the bit where you think that you're all intertwined.
Yeah, but apparently that's just frou-frou.
But there's the thing, right? So you never think about it going to that point of divorce where you take the other's money when you're into that intertwined perfection part.
You never see it coming.
You never see it coming. But when shit goes south, I don't want to say it's the same for everyone, but so much of the time things go sour, and that person that you loved and cared for so long, it's like they're the enemy. You're taking them down.
You love someone, and the moment you love someone or like someone, you develop the capacity to hate them as well. Straight away in your head, without realizing it, you've created a version of a version of the world where you don't like this person.
Yeah, and that's funny that,
and all they have to do is measure up to that negative image.
Yeah, once,
and then you're like, oh my god, image. This is they are
there.
This demon.
And not even the full extent of the image. Exactly. They can measure up to a fraction of the imagination
and
you
it clicks,
have of the
and it clicks.
Yeah,
and it's stuck.
It's like it could be an imagination you have of what a person is like in a certain situation,
exactly,
like cheating or doing something.
Yeah. And then it fills it.
They do the first 10 minutes of your movie,
and that's it.
They're that person now. That could be a movie. That could be a changing point.
We need to be better people with less delusions, and I think the only way to do that is to always be like, let them actually disappoint me. Don't let it's But even thinking that way is actually bad. It's negative because then you're saying they're gonna disappoint me.
At least at the bare minimum, something go wrong.
Ironically, maybe assuming the worst straight away, going to the actual worst. Let's say you're scared someone will cheat on you. Straight away, think about it. Say, okay, let's assume they cheated. Then you're like, do I still want to be with this person or not? If the answer is no, if they cheat, say, listen, don't ask them, oh, have you cheated? Say, like, if you cheat, I'm leaving you. Done. And it might seem like, I don't know, oh, what's that? I'm just like, no, I've thought about it. This is a boundary I've set.
This is what you assume, what, first date?
Yeah.
First date, lots of Nando's.
No, but I'm saying like obviously in a nicest way and everything, but I think of the worst thing and act on the worst principle.
I see what you're saying. Do you want to be with them in the worst case scenario?
Yeah.
That's ironically, that's marriage, right? It's
yeah.
Like best case and worst case.
Commitments.
Best case, worst case, your highs and lows, will you still be with the person?
Yeah. Crazy. In sickness and in health.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. I like the idea of marriage.
That marriage. Side of it, I mean, you are assuming marriage date one, so it gets another way nice and early, basically.
You mean the way I see things?
Yeah.
So I shake hands, I look them in the eye, and
which also goes along with don't have kids until you're not ready.
I was born ready.
Okay, on that note,
bye.
We're ready to go.